really good. All right, so main billing for tonight is get to page one of search without even having a website. So the reason why we say without a website is that you don't need to start. You don't need to wait till you get a website to start, but you really should have a website because that becomes your central platform for pretty much everything. So, but some of these things that we'll talk about tonight are going to work even if you don't have a website. So, what is this SEO thing? So, SEO stands for search engine optimization, and let me just bring this onto full screen, which will make it a wee bit better. Okay. And there is a hierarchy of needs for SEO. So it really comes down at the very bottom of it. That's called crawl accessibility. So that means that the search engines and everybody can see your website on the internet. So it's on a server that they can see it. Then really what's essential to SEO is content. So you're always starting with content. You can't do any sort of optimization without content. So content's key. And then optimizing that content for particular keywords. So keywords are the words and phrases. It's not just a word, but it's words and phrases that people type into the search engine looking for answers. So it's probably better to describe the search engine as a question engine or an answer engine because people are looking for answers. Then it comes up to your website. Your website needs to have a great user experience, and you'll often hear the term user experience. And what that means is that it loads quickly, easy to use, easy to navigate. People don't have to think too hard about going through the platform. They can really just consume the content. And then the next level up is share-worthy content. So that's like getting people to share it out, that it's on social media, it's getting citations, and it's not just on the website, but you're able to amplify it out to other platforms. Then you've got title, URL, and description. So sort of defining those quite clearly because they're key things that Google looks at to determine whether your site answers the question that people are asking in the search engine. And then you've got some more technical things like called snippets and schema markup, which we'll talk about a bit later on. Actually, I can tell you schema, it's probably the simple description for schema markup is if you've got a website that has got recipes on it, cooking recipes, then schema markup is invisible code that sits in behind all of the text and wraps around it to tell Google what that type of content is. So if you've got a recipe, there is a schema, what they call schema markup up there, which is invisible code, which you wrap around it and you're telling Google this part of the website is a recipe. And so that helps Google to categorize and the content and then to deliver it up to people that are searching for that sort of thing. So obviously there's a lot in that. The ones down the bottom, the three down the bottom are essential to get any search engine ranking. So you have to have that. They are not optional, they're compulsory. The ones which are 4 and above are optional, but just getting those parts right really improves your search engine optimization. And a lot of the work that's done by search engine companies is done in the top sort of 4 to 5 sort of level. But today, what we'll look at today is really just the not the red stuff, which is the technical SEO, but it's really just the items that are marked in a green box there. So that's all about your content and the stuff that most of us have got control of. All right, just to give you a really brief description of what technical SEO is. It's really clean code, so it's like web code that doesn't have any errors. It's how fast your website loads and how quick it performs. And that's both on mobile and desktop. And websites these days should always be built assuming that they're going to be viewed on a mobile device. So that's what they call mobile first. so it assumes that you're loading on a mobile device, and then the desktop experience will be, if you can get it right on mobile, desktop will be awesome. It needs to have an SSL certificate, which is a security certificate. So that's when your URL starts with HTTPS rather than HTTP. Canonical links. Websites often have two versions. One is www dot, and then the other version is without the www. So canonical just refers to the fact if Google would treat that as two different web pages, those two web pages. Canonical says, okay, which one are we using? We're going to use either www or the non-www one, and all the other traffic we're just going to redirect from the other one to the to the main site. Structured data, it should be structured data, not structured date. So that's like schema and that I spoke about before. XML sitemap, that's really just a list of all the links that Google can read to index your site and to list your site. A robots file tells Google what they are allowed to list and what they're not allowed to list. Now it's a directive, they can still read everything anyway, but it just lets the search engines know what you want to index. That's in its basic form. 301 redirects are redirecting pages from one URL to another URL. So you might have actually changed, let's say, the title or the URL of a blog post. You've still got links out there, but you need to redirect it to the new one. So they're really important. Mobile first, as I've mentioned, and then using tools like Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and accelerated mobile pages. So that's not everything in technical SEO, but that just gives you an idea as to what that side of things tends to cover. So we're not going to cover that tonight. So what we're going to be really looking at tonight is the content side of things, so optimizing for content. And the first part of that is just doing a bit of research. So that's your keyword research, which you'll often hear. Now, Google's got a tool. If you have a Google Ads account, Google has a keyword tool, the Google keyword tool in the AdWords account, and you can use that to do some keyword research. Unfortunately, it's reasonably limited. It used to be really good, but they have limited a lot of the results and exploration that you can do in it, but it's still a good starting point. But one of the best tools for doing some research is just what they call predictive search in Google. So when you go to the Search Console in Google and you start to type in a search phrase, so in this instance here, I've just used the term paintbrush, and you'll notice that there are a number of listings that drop down underneath it. So these aren't random listings. These are the top searches with these next words added onto it. So if paintbrush is the top search, the next search, and they're sort of predicting it as well as giving you the highest search result. So obviously paintbrush is Bunnings, which is a hardware store, is the next result. But it gives you some options there, so you can work out which of these do you want. And so what you can do, paintbrush is too broad a key phrase. If you try and optimize your page for paintbrush, it's going to be really difficult because you've got all sorts of paintbrushes, from art paintbrushes to fence paintbrushes to commercial paintbrushes. It could be air paintbrush, all that sort of stuff. So you need to define it further. So that really becomes your seed keyword, and these other ones here are your predictive. Well, you've probably heard the term long tail keyword. Long tail keyword means so basically a sentence or a phrase or a sentence, so it's a longer word. So a long tail can be 3 words, it can be 10 words. The relationship between sort of search and long tail or conversions is the longer your keyword phrase, the more likely it is the person that's searching is going to buy from you or is interested in it. So if you think about it, if someone's going to buy a car, for instance, and they type in the phrase buy car, then that's a fairly broad term, and so they're just in the, well, I just want to go and buy a car, where can I find it, or cars for sale. But then if they start to type in Audi sort of R5 or sort of 2015, that's quite a specific search phrase. So they're pretty likely they've made their mind up that they're going to buy that car. And so now they're looking at where to buy it. So the longer the phrase, the better it is generally. So first key is if you're writing blog posts, don't just use a short seed keyword. Look for some of the longer ones. So here we've got some other ones here, so you might look for, let's say, paintbrush drawing. So that there obviously would be someone who's looking to draw with a paintbrush. They're obviously not an artist because they're talking about drawing and not painting. Paintbrush stroke, so that could be someone that's looking to, how to use, different strokes in art. So they could be an artist. Or it could be someone who's wanting to paint a fence and wondering sort of whether you should be doing an upstroke or a downstroke. So you probably need to get a bit more specific on that to find out who's searching it. So the best way to do it is to click on the search and then go and visit the web page and see what search results come up. So the process is really just to go through and have a look through those predictive searches and pull out ones there that are related to your business. So your services and products, or what you're wanting to, who your customers are. It's not what you're wanting to sell, but what your customers are going to be searching for, prospects are searching for. So you're pulling out those ones there, and that gives you a starter to then go and start to develop your content, or start to get some content ideas. So that's just Google search. So that's really the place to start. Next place is Google Trends. So this is a great website which gives you sort of search results over periods of time and over regions and things. So here we've got that same term, paintbrush. At the top of it, you can see that we've narrowed down the search at the very top to just Australia, to searches in the past 12 months, all categories, and only those that are searching on the web. So we're not sort of taking into account any other sort of searches. So you can see that from about February through to September, there's been an increase in searches for paintbrush. So why might that be? And if we have a look down below where it says interest in subregion, you see that Victoria has the highest search for paintbrushes. So I would suspect that someone's put low stocks from China. Yeah, it could be that. It could be that people are locked away inside at home and they're looking for other activities. So there are people taking up painting and art to keep themselves busy and occupied because they hadn't been able to go out. So yeah, people doing DIY. People doing DIY and lockdown. So people going painting the house, doing all of those odd jobs that they're doing around there. So we don't know what sort of paintbrushes that we are at the moment, but we can find out some information from Google Trends, and you can drill down into Google Trends as well too, with those longer tail search words too. So and you can narrow down the period of time, and it gives you a really good indication as to what are popular topics. Why is this important? Because if you're able to hit a trending topic that's trending upwards, then people are searching on it, because Google takes these from the search results, and that that you're then going to be providing content that people are searching on. So there's one word that describes, or that Google describes itself in terms of search, and that's relevance. So it wants to serve up the most relevant result to the question that people ask in search. So you've got to make sure that your content is the most relevant content. And so these tools here, like Google Search, Google Trends, help you to refine, first of all, what people are searching for, to then provide them the answer. And you can also go to other places like Amazon, for instance. and have a look at the books that people are reading. So Amazon's a good search engine. So if you type in there your search phrase in Amazon, you can find out what books people are reading and downloading, and Kindle as well too. Go to iTunes, have a look at some of the popular podcasts. That one's a bit more difficult because there are not so many people searching in podcasts. It has been on the increase during the pandemic as well too. So it's not just Google that you can search in. Have a look at other places like Google. There's Google Books. There's also places like Scribd, SCRIBD.com. So that's another book and PDF repository. So there's heaps of places there to start to get some ideas. So then the next place that I would go after this, and this is my my favorite site, is this one here. It's called AnswerThePublic. So the URL of that is AnswerThePublic.com. You type in your phrase paintbrush, and that will return you a whole lot of results. Now what it returns you in terms of results are actual searches that people are searching. So they pull their results directly from Google search, and they just present them in a way that makes it easy to read. And so, for instance, I put in the term paintbrush in here, and it's given us the circle here of ideas or things that people are searching for. So we've got things like, and you'll see that in the center of the circle, they've got words that relate to it. So you've got what, why, which, when, who, how, can. So they've grouped them into those sort of words there. So for instance, if we look under what, it says, what paintbrush to use for edges. So obviously people are doing what you call sort of home maintenance. So what paintbrush to use for edges, what paintbrush to use for chalk paint, what paintbrush for gloss, what paintbrush to use on wood, what paintbrush to use for fence, what paintbrush to use on Pebble Dash. So these are all searches that people are making right now. So can you see how this gives you some ideas about how you can now start to create some content just by answering these questions? So you can get another view on Answer the Public too, which is in list view like this. So this is a little bit easier than the wheel. Generally what I do is I go through the list and I copy and paste out the search phrases in here. I'll look for about maybe 10, 11, 12 of the phrases there that are all relevant to one topic. So pick your main topic, and then with your main topic. So for instance, Jane on here is she sells artwork. She's got an art store. She's got a seahorse challenge. So I might be looking for a paintbrush for painting in a seahorse challenge, a colouring in competition. So here I'd look for sort of terms in here that would help me to colour for a painting competition. So that gives you some ideas to start to use it. So where would you go with that? So the idea is just to jot down all these ideas, put it into a notepad somewhere online there, and the first place that I would start is to create a blog post article. Now you can use it for social media or other types of media, but if you've got a website, my suggestion would be to start with a blog post, because from there everything goes from there. So here we go. Here are some topics that I pulled out from Google search, from the drop-down search, Google Trends, and from Answer the Public. So I've come up with 11 topics. How paintbrushes are made, what are paintbrush sizes, what paintbrush is best, what paintbrush to use, paintbrush without streaks, when to use an angled paintbrush, why paint with a foam brush, can paintbrush be reused, paintbrush is hard, so obviously left it somewhere without cleaning it, which comes on to cleaning, will acetone ruin my paintbrush, and clean paintbrush without white spirit. So those are topics there that I can now use in a single blog post. So it's simple to write a blog post now. All I need to do is the title is going to be Best Paintbrushes for Artists. So that's my title. So that's the overarching long tail keyword that I've got. And now all of these next 11 topics are my subheadings in that blog post. So now the job is just to write a paragraph or two under each of those subheadings. So that'll give you probably around about 800 words. So with your blog posts, you want to aim for around 800 words or 800 plus words. So it's a good, it's about an A4 size sheet of paper or longer. Often you'll hear SEO people talking about 300 words. So if you hire SEO copywriters or content writers, particularly from those emails that you get from those spam emails that you get in your inbox from overseas companies wanting to do your SEO, they will suggest 300 words. 300 words is not enough for your SEO. You are not going to get any traction with that at all, because generally a 300 word article is basically just a summary. So remember that key phrase that that Google describes itself in terms of search is relevance. So you need to be able to create good content that answers the question in search. So here it's like best paintbrushes for artists. You need to answer that there, and you need to have a whole lot of content in there that helps an artist to then go and choose the best brush and how to use that best brush, how to paint with it, how to clean it up. It's quite an extensive article. Does that make sense? So so you are going to spend a bit of time on this, but you've cut down the time now because at least you've got all of your subheadings here. So so you don't want to change these subheadings significantly. You want to pretty much use them as they are. And the reason why you do that is that one, your main topic, you know people are searching for that because you've taken that out of the Google search results. All of these other subheadings are ones that people are actually searching on. There's a good volume of search on it. So chances are if you write a page on this content with all of these search topics in it, then you're going to get hits or get visitors to your site. They're going to find it for not just best paintbrushes for artists, but maybe for one of these subheadings as well too. The other thing too is about Google is a lot smarter now, so they talk about things like contextual search. So it's not only about ranking or optimizing your page for one search phrase or one keyword. What Google does is that as it's crawling your page, it looks at the context of the page. So it says this page is about best paintbrushes for artists, but let's just have a read through the content and see whether it relates. And so you've got a topic there, why paint with a foam brush? Yeah, okay, that's for artists, and you've described that as well too. So the context of the page starts to point to the fact that this really is for artists. It's not just a page to get you ranked up there for you know, best paint brushes. All right, so the next thing is that that first subtopic that you had, how paintbrushes are made. You then go and repeat that process that you did for that first blog post. So now what you're going to do is write a separate post on how paintbrushes are made. So in that first original post, that was say 2 paragraphs, 1 or 2 paragraphs on that. This next one is this one's going to be an 800 word article on how paintbrushes are made. So I'm going to go through the same thing again. You're going to go into Google search. You're going to put that phrase into Google search and have a look at what other phrases people are searching for, what are related there. You might even go into Google Trends. You'll get the long tails. Go to Google Trends. Go to AnswerThePublic. Put that phrase in again. And then in that there, you're going to sort of put in 9 to 11 subtopics that people are searching on as well from AnswerThePublic. So you're now creating that same thing again. So you write a blog post on this one, how paintbrushes are made. And then once you've written it and published it on your website, go back to the first article that you wrote, and you're going to put a link from that first article into this new one that you've written. So it links from that first one to the second one. So what's going to happen is that Google's going to run through and do a search. It's going to find your first article. It's going to find the link in it that goes to your second article, and it's going to go through there to that article as well. And so again, that helps the context. So Google's looking, how does this relate? And it starts to build up a picture that not only is your web page about best paintbrushes for artists, but it's also your website is about that as well too. So the whole website is probably geared towards artists. You're not selling, it's not geared towards a whole lot of other random things. So and one thing I should say, and that's a good point from Ned there too, is keyword stuffing, is to avoid that. And what keyword stuffing is using the same search phrase all the time through your content, like 15 different times. If you use that exact same search phrase, Google's going to say, hey, look, this is gaming the system. This looks like keyword stuffing. We don't think this is genuine. We think that this article here is really just trying to game the system to get up and search. So we're going to demote it and push it down the rankings. So you need key phrases that are your main one and then related ones on each page. So now you've got 2 blog posts, and that's on week 2. Week 3, you're going to do the same thing again. So in this time, you're going to write a blog post on what are paintbrush sizes. Run through that same exercise again. So you're putting through Google search, getting the long tail, going to Google Trends, go to Answer the Public, get the subtopics, and then you're going to link the second article to the second paragraph in that first blog post. And so you'll continue that through each of the weeks. So you've got 11. At the end of the day, 11 blog posts. We'd actually have 12 blog posts because you've got your first one and then you've got your next 11, which are subtopics. So you can do that once a week, or you can do it once a month. So that gives you a project for 12 months, for instance. There's your 12 months content for your website, 1 blog post a month. So does that make it a bit easier and simpler, so you're not having to think about what am I going to write about this month? You've got something that, you've got a structure there to write to. It all relates back to the first thing. It all relates to the website, and it's building up a big picture for search about what your website's about, and they're just not random topics going on your website that are sort of related. If you run through this process here, then you'll find that you will very quickly move yourself up in the search rankings, and your site will become an authority on the topic, which is what you want to do, and it will become a credible source to go to. So Ned says, does Google penalize on copying similar written content? So there's not so much a penalty that Google applies. It's just that Google will attribute the original source of content. That's where it will send its, whatever you call it, Google Juice or whatever. It's going to optimize the original source. Anyone else that copies it is going to get nowhere near that same sort of attribution that the original piece of content gets. So you don't want to be copying content. You want to be writing it in your own words. It's okay to cite other pieces of content and put those citations in, but you want your content to be written originally. So don't just copy and paste. You can copy and paste if you're going to sort of just do snippets and then talk about it and say review it. That's acceptable, but not your main content. So you want to be the original content and the authority. That's what you're creating for yourself. All right, let me just look through the comments here. Okay. And you still need a certain number of key phrases. One thing I would say about key phrases is you want one main key phrase per page. So that first post that we wrote, if we can go back there, is best paintbrushes for artists. That's your main key phrase for that page. The other one aren't the main key phrases. So and so when you get to the next one, how paintbrushes are made, that's your main key phrase. That's the one you're optimizing for it. And so you keep on, so you just got that focus on that one area. What about spinning articles? Great question. There was a trend a few years back where you would write one blog post article. You would put it through what they call a spinner, an article spinner, and that would do things like change words around, swap words around, change paragraphs around, and so you'd spin it any number of times. You might get 100 versions of the same website, just expressed slightly differently, paragraphs moved in different positions or whatever. These days, it doesn't work. So if you think about spinning, don't do it. You'll if anything, it will harm your content. Google's onto that, and with their new algorithm, which is all about context, it will see that this is the same article that has been just put together in different ways. So virtually, it's just reverse engineering what the spinner does, and it says, no, this is the same article. So don't do any spinning at all. It's much better to write original content like this one here and go through a strategy like this. This works. Spinning will work for a little while, but it's a risky process in that you might get a jump on your site, but you may end up where Google says, hey, look, gaming the search engine, we're going to push you right down. Okay. DJs spin it better. Yep, keep your spinning to the records. Probably all the young people on here have got no idea what records are. Okay. All right, so that's your blog post. Now, next important thing is how do you do your on-page optimization for your blog post. So each post, if we go back to best paintbrush for artists, these are all the things that you need to pay attention to and make sure you've done all these things here. So the title, so there are coded tags in the website, which are sort of like invisible tags which tell Google what each area of content is. First one is an H1, which is the title. So the title of your website is always what they call H1, means heading 1. Only ever have one H1 on your page. If you're using a web builder like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, when you put the title in the title box, that will generally always be H1, and it will just happen automatically. For your subheadings, you want to have your subheadings as H2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So, and they are ordered in the sense that H2 is the second most important thing. So it might be your title is best paintbrushes for artists. Your H2 tag might be something like the definitive guide to choosing a paintbrush to turn you into a professional artist. I don't know, something like that there. So that's your secondary topic. It's almost like a tagline. And then your H3 to 6, you may not get down to H6, but you generally, I would use H3 and H4. You can use multiples of that for the through the website. So if you've got 11 headings, they could all be H4 headings or H3 headings. That's fine. So the title, so in the title you need to have your key phrase, your long tail key phrase. In the URL of the page, which they often call it the slug, that should also contain the key phrase as well. Your headings should contain derivations of the key phrase or related ones, not the same, but contextual ones. So they're still about paintbrushes, but they're different. So like how to clean a paintbrush. Can you clean paintbrushes without white spirits? So the seed phrase is there, but it's using slightly different phrases. You should always have the key phrase in the first paragraph and the last paragraph. So your first paragraph is telling people what the article is about. The last paragraph is summing up what it was about. On your image, before you upload your images to the site, change the name of the image to include your key phrase in the image name. That's really important. And then your image title needs to contain that key phrase, as well as your image description, and most particularly, what's really important is your alt text. Alt text stands for alternative text, and that's used by screen readers, really important for accessibility. For people that are vision impaired and can't read, if they're using screen readers, then the screen reader will read what the image is. If there's no alt text there, screen reader doesn't know what it is. Also for websites that block images or don't load images, the alt text will show instead, and that will be a description of what that image is. Captions are really good. Not many people use captions. So caption's a bit like, you know, a newspaper article have got a caption underneath, hey, this is Joe Blow sort of at the race course at the Melbourne Cup. So an image caption is really good. If possible, put an image caption in there with a key phrase or related key phrase. And then make sure you categorize and tag your posts. So like WordPress has categories and tags for your post. Categories are a bit like the top level, you would call it the table of contents in a book. So you wouldn't have many categories. That's like your table of contents. Your tags are a bit like the index at the back of the book, which are a heap of different terms and phrases. So don't go overboard, just do it sort of sensibly, but that helps Google to also work out what your site is and helps to group similar pieces of content together. It also helps people that are on your website to search for similar pieces of content as well. All right, social media has a role to play. So as soon as you've published your content, share it to Facebook, create an image for it for Instagram, publish it to LinkedIn, create Facebook, Instagram, Google stories with it. So if you've got 11 articles or 11 paragraphs in an article, there's 11 different images or posts or videos that you can create a story with. Tweet it out on Twitter. Who knows? Donald Trump might find it. Pin it on Pinterest, and definitely use Google Web Stories being the new one. Here's one that not many people know about. Google My Business. Publish a post about it in Google My Business. So Google My Business has posts in it. So for those that are unfamiliar with Google My Business, that's like Google Maps and your business profile. They've got posts in there. They last for, I think it's a week or a couple of weeks. I can't remember what the length of time is. They're short posts, but you can get links back to your website. They appear in your Google Maps profile when people are finding your business. So that's a piece of real estate that not many people use, but you can get a reasonable amount of links and traffic back to your website on it. Google My Business photos. Upload photos that you use in your blog post, maybe with a caption on it or an overlay on it, up to your Google My Business photos. Create videos to upload to Google My Business as well too. And at the bottom of your or top of your blog posts, add share links to social media on it. So people that are interested in it can then go and share it out to their social media wall or their networks as well too. And people do that. So it's, if you've got authoritative articles and you've spent a bit of time writing it, you will find that people will share it out. So make it easy for them. Next thing we'll move on to is video. So remember, we've done our research. We've created some blog posts. We're now sort of sharing it out on social. Now we can create videos with it as well too. So the simplest type of video you can do is a Facebook Live. So so if you've got 11 articles, you could easily 11 paragraphs in your first article. There's 11 Facebook Lives that you can do on that topic. So you can run through sort of like 11-day series on how to choose the best paintbrush for artists. Look, you'll get followers out of that, yeah, and you'll get links back to you, and make sure you've got a call to action which links back to your website to say, hey, look, this is just about not using white spirits, but there's a whole, the rest of the information is on this blog post. Put that link in it as well too. So do that on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. And look, they don't have to be really flash. They don't have to be well prepared. You've written a blog post. You don't have to write out a script for this thing. You just pick up the phone and record it with a blog post in front of you. At worst, just read it. And as you read it, you'll find other things to talk about with it as well. My recommendation is doing a 5-minute video is better than not doing a video at all, but you want to aim to do sort of like a 20 to 40 minute video if you can. So at least 20 minutes long. So I think most of us can find 20 minutes in a day just to do a live video. You don't have to do it on all the platforms, just pick a platform and do it on one of them. And that same video, you can actually upload that to YouTube. So it saves on your phone. You can upload it to YouTube. Or you could do another one for YouTube on the entire article. So if you've got a whole article written, the simplest thing you could do again is just to read the article onto a video, post that up on YouTube. Now, why would you do that? And and how boring is it just reading it? Just try and make your voice interesting. But the reason for it is that often video will get onto first page of Google well before your text content. So it gives you an opportunity to jumpstart your text content onto and get a link back to your page. Now here's what's really important with video is that you put your website link as the very first thing in the description under the video when you're uploading the video. So on the YouTube page, there's a box underneath for description, and you can write a description about what the video is about. Make sure the very first thing is the URL to your web page with the video in it. About the content. The other thing to do is once you've got that video up there, grab that video, go and embed it into your blog post. Animoto video, you can create that, which is really just PowerPoint slides and turned into a video. So you can upload slides, images, whatever into Animoto, create a video out of it. You can do the same sort of thing with wave.video as well too. And those sort of things you can post up to social media. A doodle video is that cartoon person sort of drawing the text and whatever. You can get someone on Fiverr to do that for about $20. And Vimeo is another platform that you can use. So here we go. If you're uploading to YouTube, some important things to note about optimizing. Really important you optimize your videos. Don't just upload them and leave them because YouTube is a search engine. It's a pretty large search engine. So make sure that the video title is exactly the same as your blog post. Put in video tags, similar or the same as on your blog post. Put a video. Talked about the video description, putting your link to the post at the very start, and then group those similar videos together. So you've got 11 videos on that topic. Group them into a playlist. So the playlist might be how to choose the best brush for an artist. Group all those videos into that playlist, and then go and embed each of those videos into those relevant blog posts. All right. So we talked about that. Yeah, YouTube videos, they'll display above the organic search results too. So in search, you'll see videos will come above the organic ones, and you'll get there before your text content will often. All right. So next thing is repurpose your content. So you've got 11 blog posts. You can turn it into an ebook. So think, well, why would you turn your blog post into an ebook? They read it on the website. Not everyone has. So turn it into an ebook, which you can give away. You can create a landing page to get it away. That means you're getting email addresses. You're starting to build your subscriber base. So if you've been on an earlier webinar here where we talked about generating leads in your CRM, you want to make sure you've got a CRM, content relationship management service. So it's like MailChimp, Ontraport, Drip, one of those services there. So when people download the ebook there, they give you their email address. You've got that. You give them the ebook. So it can be a giveaway. It can be a bonus for someone else to give away. So you can give it to someone else to give away on their web page. Great for a giveaway if you do speaking, like on things like this here, or you're a guest speaker at other people's events. You can use that as a giveaway, which then gets you email addresses back again. But more than that, make sure that the PDF, the ebook that you've got, has got links in it, clickable links to take them back to your website. So back to that blog post. So have a link in there back to your blog post. And you can even put it into an ad in an industry magazine, like a physical magazine as well. You know, people will actually go to websites from those sort of magazines. You've got a site out there called slideshare.net. So slideshare.net is a repository for PowerPoint and Keynote presentations. Turn your blog post into a PowerPoint presentation. So you don't have to have all the text here. You might just have the key headings and some images in there. And in SlideShare, you can then link that back to the blog post for people that want to get the full content. E-zine articles. So e-zine articles, you can summarize your articles there to publish up on ezinearticles.com. E-zine articles is a place where people go to find content. When they don't want to write it themselves, they'll go to e-zine articles, and they're allowed to republish those articles on their website with an attribution back to you. So that attribution can be a link back to your website. So you've got to make sure you've got a bio at the bottom of it with a link back to your website. And because you've got the original content, you get the primary attribution. They'll get the secondary attribution from Google. But don't make it exactly the same as what's on your website. Just change it a bit so that it is a bit different. Maybe it's more of a summary. It doesn't need to be 800 words. You can do sort of 400 to 600 words for easy in articles. And that'll be other people then sort of sharing your content, which means there's backlinks back to your site. You can even do things like creating a podcast. So go to iTunes and create a 15-minute episode about each of those posts as well. You would be amazed how many people will listen to a podcast on weird and unique topics. So go and have a look at iTunes or Spotify. Have a look at the podcasts that are in there, particularly in your niche or your business. All sorts there. So don't discount that. It does take a little bit of work to put together. But it's well worth doing. So this would be, once you've got the blog side of things done, once you've done your social, once you've published to things like SlideShare and Easy in Articles, this would be sort of further down the track, but again, worth doing. Amazon.com. You can publish an ebook into Amazon.com. So collate all your content together, turn it into an ebook. And then you can publish it on Amazon and Kindle. It's a wee bit of a process to go through to sign up to Amazon and Kindle. You may tear your hair out so going through it, but again, because it's hard, not many people do it. So that's a reason to do it. So persist or find someone that can help you to do it so that you can then publish to Kindle and Amazon. Once you've been through that application process and to set it up, then it's a reasonably straightforward process to then go and publish content onto those platforms. So again, people search on that. So that's why I said that's a search engine to look for. If you're publishing content on those platforms that people are already searching for, then you've got a ready audience of people to reach. And make sure again that in those ebooks you've got links that you can click through to your website. Maybe they're bonuses. Create a page of bonuses where they can come and get some stuff. Create a case studies, even if it's just a link through to your main blog post. So those are the internal links in the document. Next one's piggyback SEO. So this is a bit of a, what would you call it? I was going to say underhand, but it's not really underhand. It's sort of a sneaky tactic for SEO. And what it is you go and search for forums or industry forums or blogs in your industry. So you grab the keyword, and so your keyword might be sort of paintbrush for artist. Add the word forum after it, or add the word blog after it, and you'll see a whole search results on page 1 for forums and blogs. Click through to each of those, see which of those will allow you to contribute to them. So join the forums and sign up to the blogs. Look for posts that you can provide a meaningful comment to, and drop a link into the comment or the forum. Now, because that forum and blog is already on page 1 of Google, when you leave a comment in it, you're now on page 1 of Google. Because as visitors come and click on that link there, if they've been looking at it and click on the link, and they generally go to those to find specific answers to questions, so they're quite specific. They click on that, they get to the forum, they scan the forum, there's your article, there's your comment on the forum there, which is quite helpful. So you want to make sure that it's helpful, it's specific to the question that's being asked, and you're contributing in a way that's meaningful. It doesn't need to be just a sentence or two. You can write a whole paragraph or 2 or 3 paragraphs, and sometimes the more the better in that there. You can almost put your blog post into there with a link back. So that gets you onto page 1 of Google instantly by doing that. You don't have to do any more work. So they call it piggyback because you're piggybacking on the back of another site. So that's a good strategy. So you comment and contribute, and page 1 of Google. Okay, the other ones to look at are Google Assets. Anything that's Google, use it. So again, we talked about Google My Business, which is Google Maps. And in Google Maps, make sure that you complete your Google profile to 100%. The reason why you do that, a lot of people only complete it to 70 or 80%. Google wants to present up before those 70 and 80% ones. They want the complete ones. So if you complete it to 100%, you're more likely to get up onto search. So just follow it all through. To do that, you need to upload not only your business information, you need to upload photos. So that's why uploading your blog photos there are important, creating some images there. Videos, upload some videos. So if you've done those Facebook Lives or whatever, just upload some of those videos here. You don't have to recreate it, just use those same ones. Those article posts which we talked about, put those up. Google offers a free website as well too, a one-page website. Take it, fill it out, complete it with links back to your main website. So it's a Google property that they will preference over other free websites. So just create that one website. Don't make it your main website. It's really just a one-page summary website which you have links back to your website. And it's a great idea to have the ebook that you've just produced from your blog posts. Put that up onto that Google site as well for people to download. You can list your products there. You can even list events there. So this event here, we list these events on Google My Business. So again, people will find your events on Google. And of course, the big one, Google reviews. You want to always be getting Google reviews because that's all about credibility and creating authority. So have a look at your Google My Business listing. If you've got a business or a company, you've probably got one. You may not have set it up, but Google will just put it up there anyway. Go and claim it and then complete it to 100%. That is one of the most important things you can do for SEO, particularly if you run a local business. Next place is Google Images. So remember that we talked about you need to optimize your images in your blog posts. You need to have a title, description, alt text and caption. The reason for that is Google also indexes all those images into their Google Images site. And you can see on this one here, there's an image there for the ebook that we put out a couple of weeks ago. And that Google story that I created, that image of that book there is what I put into that Google's web story. So that was 3 days ago. So that was up on the web there on the same day that we created it. So Google Images is a great place to get some search engine juice. And the image itself has got a link back to your website. If people click on that, they go to your website. And you'll notice on the right-hand side, under the image, there's a little link there. Which in this particular case is VA question smash go. That goes through to your website as well. So there's lots of opportunities for linking back to your website on Google Images. So that's why it's important to optimize them properly on your website. You've got the Google Merchant Center. So if you sell products, physical products, then make sure that you list them on the Google Merchant Center. There's a process to go through it, but Google takes a clip of your sales. But once you've gone through the process, it just happens automatically there. And the reason why these are important, these are always at the top of the listings on Google search, always at the top. So it's a great place to feature your products. Don't have to put them all up. So you might have lost leaders up there. You might just feature them. You can even put ebooks that you've got for sale. So put up your ebooks that you're selling at $10 or $20. Put them into sort of the Google Merchant Center as well too. And again, we talked about publishing on Amazon and Kindle. Google's also got Google Playbooks. Go and publish there as well too. YouTube. So yeah, we've talked about YouTube and publishing there as well. So make sure you create channels and playlists in YouTube. So your playlist should be your topics. So make it easy for people to consume your content on YouTube. So playlists are basically categories. Just categorize them so it's easier for people to subscribe and consume them. And claim absolutely everything you can on the web. There's a great tool out there called Noam.com, and that allows you to go and sign up for all the social media accounts that you can. So go to Noam and just grab all of them. So if there's two you should grab. One is your business name. So try and get every single account that you can with your business name. And the other thing to do is claim your personal name. So you should always have the domain with your personal name. So for me, I've got the domain nickcree.com and nickcree.me. Make sure you've got your one as well, and then go and claim all of those social profiles in your own name. You may not sort of get to optimize them now, but you will at some point. And you can see that for my name, I've got the first 70 results in Google search. So that's 6 pages. So there are no other sites in there apart from mine that are on those first 6 pages in Google. You might ask, well, that's probably taken a lot of time. Most of that has taken about 2.5 years. So that's reasonably recent. There's other things in there that are longer, but it's about 2.5 years to really get that first 6 pages of results. And really that's just consistent action and keeping on publishing on a fairly regular basis. So if you do those blog posts, like just those 11 blog posts, and then you follow the system to get it out to easy in articles, SlideShare, YouTube, Facebook, social media, and so follow that strategy through, you will find that you will start to dominate the search results. One, for your name, because you're the author and the publisher, and second, for the topic as well too. It takes longer with the topic, but you'll certainly get there with your name. All right, that was pretty much a whistle-stop tour of SEO. I hope there's enough there for you to take away and start actioning. I don't expect you to do all of it, but just to start it. And I think the very start of it is to do your research with Google and to write a series of blog posts. I have just put together a series of other resources that are going to be helpful for you for your SEO, for those that want to delve into it a lot further. I know you won't be able to jot that down. Maybe take a picture of it or a screenshot of it so you've got it. We might grab these and just drop them into sort of Facebook or somewhere tomorrow, so you can grab them tomorrow. But that there is the whistle-stop tour of SEO. These are things that you can do yourself, and you should be able to go away tonight and start to do some of these yourself. So, any questions at all? If you've got a question, just feel free to open up the mic. Will I make the PowerPoint slides available? Yes, I'm happy to make these slides available. So what we'll do is we'll publish this video on YouTube tomorrow, and we'll work out some way to get these slides. You'll probably send you out an email with a link to the slides.
Nick, I have a question on. Thanks very much. How comprehensive was that?
Yes.
And I'm glad it's being recorded, because I've got cramp in my fingers. And it does take a long time to build authority.
Hang on, I'll just get rid of this music. Somehow this has just started playing here.
Oh, that was a great TikTok too. Someone did a thing. He ended up being interviewed on CNN.
Yep.
And someone did a takeoff of being Donald Trump on a skateboard drinking bleach.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So my question is around volume of search. Yep. So you can do a lot of work and get all this done, and it's like having the best shop in the worst street with no one walking past. So what tool do you use to look at the volume of traffic for those keywords?
Look, you can use something like, there are tools like, SEMrush and Moz. They're paid tools, so they do offer a free trial, but you can also use the keyword tool in Google AdWords. So if you've got a Google AdWords account, you can just sign up for a Google AdWords account. You don't have to spend any money, and you can get to use the Google keyword search tool. That will give you some indication of search numbers, but certainly Moz and SEMrush. Oh, there's also Ahrefs, which is Ahrefs is another website. They're a good site to get some results on that as well too.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Nick,
Yes.
Hi, Catherine here. You know, when you were talking about with the video thing for Animoto,
Yep.
because as you say, certainly if we've got facts in our content and visually presenting things really good, in other words, if it will take, so you're saying it can take with Animoto, if we put in our PowerPoint slides, are you saying that will create it straight through to a video format, if you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. It'll take your slides and it'll put in transitions and just turn it into a video. So it's a quick way to do it.
And would you call it a reasonably effective, if it is about content rich, because you might be taking key elements of your post and you're wanting people to click to the key messaging, tolerable?
Yes, yeah. Look, it's good. It's the sort of thing that you could use on social media. So it's a video that you can use. So you might write a longer post on social media, have your Animoto video playing, and then a link through to your website. So, and the Animoto video might just have your key points in it. So, so a good way to use it would be, say, let's say there are 11 steps to do something. So you just put those 11 steps into a PowerPoint slide. People see that. Make sure that you've got text on it with the 11 steps as well, not just images, so people can read the text. And that there's enough of a teaser for people to say, hey, that's what I want. You've got a link through the website for them to get the full content.
And were you saying also to even put a fuller post content? You know how you might put the PowerPoint slides up as a single video image? This is social media. Are you saying even you have a more embellished content below as part of the post?
Yeah, yeah. I would generally always put more content in with the video as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Excellent. What else? Someone's SEO Edge. Yes, SEO Edge is another app for keywords as well. So that's a great tool. Thank you for that, Jane. Any other questions we've got there? Get the free trials. Ned said get free trials. Get free trials for everything. So you can do an amazing amount of things with free trials. And in fact, here's a little secret for those free trials. Often you've got to sign up with your email address. If you've got a Gmail address or a G Suite address, so I've got one which was positivebusinessonline@gmail.com. After the Positive Business Online and before the @ if you just add plus and then anything else, so you could say, let's say you're signing up for SEMrush, you can put Positive Business Online plus SEMrush@gmail.com. That will still come through to your main email box, but SEMrush will treat that as a separate email address. So you might have Positive Business Online plus SEMrush 1. Your trial expires, so you create another one. SEMrush 2. Trial expires, SEMrush 3. So there's a little trick if you want to, if you don't want to pay for some of these tools to start with. So it's just a little hack to to get some success with it. It's a bit black hat.
You realise this is being recorded, Nick?
Yeah, I might have to cut that, but no. Look, they'll be aware that happens. I know that happens. That's just one of the tricks that us web developers use because we're always signing up for accounts multiple times for different purposes.
Nick.
Ron.
Yep. Can I sort of go back to the start?
Yes, we'll do a rewind.
When you're on Answer the Public and you're selecting those long tail keyword phrases to put together as an article, how did you actually qualify those phrases for your selection?
Look, I just happened to group ones that looked like they were relevant to my main topic. So I picked a main topic, and then I just looked for other phrases that were relevant to that main topic. So there's 1,000 odd phrases that you can find there. You're going to find 9 or 10 or 11 of them in there that are going to be reasonably closely related.
And when you're actually writing each one of those, you're referring back to the main keyword, which was
it's already related to the main keyword, so you don't have to manipulate it back to that main keyword. You don't have to write about that main keyword again in that paragraph. All you have to do is write about that subtopic. That's enough. Because from Google's point of view, it sees the context of the page and says this heading or the subheading and the paragraphs under the subheading, they obviously relate to the main topic. So you don't have to keep repeating the keyword through the content.
So the second article you're writing, you mentioned putting a link back to the first article?
Yeah, well, from the first article. So your first article is your main article, and then you put the link from that main article through the second article that you write. So you've got 11 subheadings in there. So that on the next day where you write that next article, you link that subheading to or this one here to this article. When you've written this the second article, then you link the second paragraph to that second article, third one to the third article, so that way down.
Right.
Now you can do sort of internal linking from those other articles to each other, but at its basic form, just link that first article through to all the sub articles you've written.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Cool. Excellent, great. All right. As a web developer, do you get first-hand information from Google when they change their algorithm? I wish. Google doesn't tell anyone nothing. So, but having said that, Google's got a pretty comprehensive set of documentation. Those links that I've got in the PowerPoint presentation towards the end there, those additional resources, some of those are Google guidelines. So when you get the PowerPoint presentation, have a look at those guidelines because there's some really good information in there. So generally we just follow that through. And if you follow those guidelines, you're generally on task and you'll find you'll do okay. Most people don't read them. So the fact that you're reading them means you're a step ahead of everybody else. Only people that read those sort of things are web developers and specialists. And even so, some of them don't read them. But the most important thing is write for humans. Don't write for the search engine. Because if you write for humans, then you're going to fit into that relevancy equation that Google's looking for. Because if you answer the question, that's all you need to do. The keywords really flow from that. It's not really the other way around. All right, with a competitive niche, we've optimized our SEO and page speed website. How can we move on top of others? By writing more content or just better content, what's there? So if you've really optimized your website and you've done all of the technical side of things, the game of SEO generally is all about content. So doing things like making your website faster, dealing with schema, making sure that all your H1, H2, H3 tags and all that sort of stuff in the right places, they're all important. But at the end of the day, if you have a look at that hierarchy of that Maslow hierarchy of needs for SEO, right at the very bottom of it, the second step up was content. So if you want to win the SEO game, it's about publishing content. So that's that is your most important thing. So don't just publish any content. It's important to look at what people are searching for and publish for what they're searching for. Now, at the moment, I think it's like every month, 30% of searches that are performed have never been made before. So people are searching for things, they're typing in key phrases that have never been used before. So that's why you want to keep doing the research, because what people were searching for 5 years ago is different to what they're searching for today. So you need to find what they're currently doing. So that's why it's important to keep doing that research back in Google, Google Trends, Amazon. Just keep yourself abreast of that and then keep publishing for that.
Nick, can I jump in and just ask you, what about ranking on other search engines? I know it's all about Google mainly. And if you're doing that, are you covering off the Bing and the Yahoos and the DuckDuckGos?
It's the same process. You are covering them off as well too. The only thing that you would do any differently is it's really just about your tracking and optimization. So for instance, for Bing, Bing's got its webmaster tools and analytics as well too. So you want to make sure that you've created your Bing accounts just as you do with Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools. Same sort of thing in Bing. So if you set up as many of those as possible, then you've got metrics for them as well. And what's important there is that you can see what's getting traction for you in your Google Analytics or your Bing Analytics. And that gives you some opportunities that you can write additional content for or refine the content you've already got for in your existing website. So, I mean, that's a whole nother sort of discussion again, is understanding what is Google Analytics and Bing Analytics telling you when you read it. There are sections in there that you can go that will tell you what people are doing. So, for instance, one of my favorite places to go in Google Analytics is into behavior. So if you're going to go into the behavior tab there, you can find where people enter your website and what pages they go to next and what pages they go to next. So it gives you a flow of information through there. So where people drop off might be an opportunity to say, you can start to ask yourself, why did they leave there? Did they get the answer that they wanted, or did they not get the answer? And there's an opportunity for me to write some better content or something that relates to them. So you use that in combination with the search terms that they're using to ever improve your content. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? Rachel says, write more evergreen content that's related to your niche. Yeah, it's good not to have dated content. So, I mean, sometimes content is dated just by the nature of it. You know, if you're running events or Bathurst 2020. But as much as possible, if you can write undated content that's relevant and good quality, you definitely want to be doing that. Okay.
Nick, can I ask?
Yes.
You were talking, excuse me, you were talking about doing video from the blog posts.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about extending that video out to at least 20 minutes.
Yep.
So what about your your little MEO waves and all that? You know, they're only 15 minutes, or your socials are, you know, really short videos. How would you use that? Or is it not worthwhile using that?
You're talking about social videos?
Well, yeah, with social, you know, you've got your Instagram reels and your stories and things like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, well, if you ever see my Facebook videos, they're generally about sort of 20 to 40 minutes long. So mine are reasonably long. The reason why they're long is that the longer they are, the better engagement you get. From the point of view that when you start the video, you get a few people hop on, but the longer you run it for, the wider it goes out on the platform if there's engagement with it. So you need to be so you'll notice sometimes I talk to people. So people come on, I'll say hello to them, and that's all about trying to get them to engage back. So they say, hey Nick, how's it going? Because when they do that, like Facebook, for instance, says, oh, hey, this is getting some engagement. People are commenting back again. Let's just push it out a bit further. And so the longer you're on, the greater the chance you've got of other people jumping on and watching it as well too. Because they might not be on there when you first start, but they are later. But if you're repurposing it so you're talking about repurposing that content there to then go and put up on, say, YouTube?
Well, not so much YouTube, but you know, partly the reason why using social is to attract attention.
Yep.
So, you know, and like Instagram and Facebook, you know, do have short videos, very limited videos.
So that's for the stories?
Yeah, for stories.
Yeah. So again, you're working out what your video is for, whether you're producing a longer form video and you're delivering content that you want people to be engaged in and staying on. For, say, stories, it's probably only just going to be short content, which is really just giving across one idea. So you might have three videos in your story with 3 different ideas, but it's just a single idea. So I wouldn't be putting 40 minutes videos into those stories, because it's just going to go by too quickly. People are not really going to see it.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the stories are really to attract attention to get them back to your website. Pretty
much, yeah. And stories are, they're things that just let people know you're there. So it's a bit like, it flashes up on the phone. People tap on stories, and it just keeps going until you stop there. So it just gives you a presence up there and reminds people that you exist. But you just want something up there that is not just random, but something that's relevant. So that's why you often use text and video in those stories as well too. All right, Instagram's only 90 seconds. So yes, so that's only a short one there too. All right. Okay, a couple of questions there. Well, that's probably about all we can cover with SEO. I'm happy to answer any other questions via email, via Business Owners Smashing It Online. If you go to the Facebook group, Business Owners Smashing It Online, if you're not a member there, just go and join that. Happy to answer any questions there and sort of carry on a discussion there. And I've got a couple of questions about the VA course that we're putting together as well too. So we are just putting the finishing stages to the virtual assistants course, how to hire virtual assistants effectively and how to make them work for your business so that you can step out of your business. It's been a lot of work and we're getting towards the point where we're about to release and put some information out, and I know that there's some people on here that are really keen to get that. So we'll let you know as soon as it's ready to go. We'll announce it here. We'll put it out on Business Owners Smashing Online. We'll send out an email about it, so you'll definitely all get that there as well too. But thanks for asking. And Lorena's just popped up a link into chat as well too, so you can click through to it as well.
After tonight, Mick, we'll all need a VA to run that business.
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of the sort of work that you can get a VA to do, and I do as well too. That's why I've got a team of VAs. So yeah, it really is. That's one thing to say. It's impossible really to do it all yourself, and you just need to take it in bite-sized pieces, start from the start and just work through to the end. And where you can start to systemize some things like video stuff, you can systemize getting those up onto the various platforms. That's when you can start to get a VA or a VA team to really help you with that sort of stuff, and that's when you'll start to accelerate it. So so thanks for that. All right, well, that's probably a wrap for tonight. Just a couple of quick announcements before we go. The YouTube channel, I see some people have already been on there and subscribed to the YouTube channel, so thank you for that. We just need to get up to 100 so we can get that URL, our own URL, so please go and subscribe to it. And it means that if you don't turn up here, it's not an excuse not to turn up, but at least the videos will be up there for you to watch. The other thing too is tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time, which I think is 11 o'clock New Zealand, 4 o'clock Western Australian, and whatever New South Wales and Victoria and whatever are, because it's all daylight saving down there now. We have office hours. So office hours is no agenda chat, no speaker. It's ready as bring along a coffee there, coffee or tea, come and have a chat about anything to do with your online marketing. If you've got questions about today, tomorrow's an ideal time to come along and have a bit of a discussion about that with other people that are in business as well too. So that's that. Was there anything else I need to talk about as well? I don't think so. I think I've got it all. I'm just looking to my VAs at the moment who are on the channel, Lorena and JM, to tell me what I've forgotten. But they say I've covered everything. All right, well, look, thanks again for tonight. I hope that it has been helpful and valuable. I hope you've got lots of work to go away and do now, but at least that it's useful and you can take it away and do some things, and hopefully it's demystified some of what this SEO business is all about. It's actually easier than a lot of the experts make it out to be. All right, well, that's a wrap for tonight. So thanks very much for coming along, and look forward to either seeing you tomorrow or seeing you back next week. Go and have a great week.